Hello, Gayle. Here's Barbara from the Wildnis School Wir-Kinder der Erde, and I'm appreciated to see you here as an elder who will give us information about you and what it means to be an elder in your community, in the society, and what is the importance of the inner value to get an elder.
Mm-hmm.
Great to see you. And do you want to introduce yourself?
Oh, I didn't put that up there because I thought you were going to do it. That's okay. My name is Gayle Grosmaz. My spirit animal is black bear and white raven. I live in Ontario, Canada, the edge of the wilderness with my family, my two daughters, son-in-law, and two grandsons. And I travel the world teaching and sharing the wisdom of my ancestors and from spirit and from the creator, for what people want to know and learn about themselves and about me. I'm an artist. I make ceremonial drums, which are now in 12 countries around the world. And each one is one of a kind that is dedicated to the person and what their ancestors want to tell them. So I'm going to be in Bavaria in May and June, and so I look forward to meeting some of you, hopefully, um, when I'm coming there. I've been coming there since 2017.
Oh, that's
17.
long.
Yeah, yeah. And usually it was twice a year, but now, since the world shut down, it's now down to once a year, but I stay longer. Yes. But I'm happy to be here today.
Yeah. The subject is what is an elder? Here in Germany, we are talking a lot of getting old and getting in retirement homes. And there is not really a task for elders, but elders are needed in any society of the world.
Hmm.
And I think that it would be great to hear from an elder who is living in another community, in another background, what this means to him or her to be an elder. What task do you have, and what kind of, how you say, subjects are important to involve during your lifetime to
Hmm.
get an elder? What is the difference between getting old and being an elder? And this is the series I'm doing with a lot of other persons interviewing at a special age to get a clue in the head and in the heart. What does it mean? Because I think elders are important and missing.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. Getting old doesn't necessarily make you an elder, but living a good life, walking the path with respect, and empathy and compassion for others. You're going to make mistakes and you learn from them. And you take responsibility for them and change what you have done and share that with the world. And that's the part of the elder is to have lived their life in a good way and share their experience, but only when asked. People say, well, you need to get over being shy. You should talk more. I'm going, I'm not shy, but if you ask me, I will give you my experience. And that doesn't mean that my experience is going to be in alignment with your own experience. And my wisdom may not be in alignment with what you feel you need. But you take what you can from it, and then you leave the rest.
So this means that if you are asked by someone to share your wisdom, it will
Hmm.
be a teaching, and everybody and is getting out their own how I say, thinks about of the teaching. But it might be that one person get this part and the other get that part, because it's in line with your own way of learning. So,
Exactly. And the thing is too, you know, as an elder, you have to be careful not to interfere or overwhelm with your opinions, especially that's why I say when you're asked. Because, and I mean, I live with my two daughters and my son-in-law, my two grandsons, and the reason it works is because I do not tell them how to live their life. I trained them. Now they can go out and make their own mistakes and learn from them. And I just sit back, and if they ask, I will give a generalized opinion. I don't say you have to do it this way. This is the way I did it, because not all of my ways worked. I made a lot of mistakes, and I had to learn from them, and then I apologize for them, and then grow from them, and then say, okay, well, this is what I did. This is what didn't work. This is what did work. But you choose for yourself what you feel will work for you in your particular situation and your own belief system.
mhm. And why would it be then important to have an elder around if I say I do my own way by myself and I'm looking for what is working for me? That it's not the thinking that I don't need any elder around because I do what I want.
And that would be ego talking, not your soul.
That's right.
E- Ego thinks it's in charge and it knows everything because, let's be honest, the moment you start to form in the womb of your mother, you're already being influenced by your ancestors because you inherit their DNA. You inherit their wisdom and their mistakes and their beliefs. So before you're even born, you already are influenced. And some of those aren't necessarily good things. I mean, myself, I was spoken in Bavaria back in 2018, and I talked about all the DNA that runs through my system. I'm Mongolian, Siberian, Cossack, Ukrainian, Viking, Irish, Scottish, Ojibwe, and all of those tribes fought each other. They hated each other. They killed each other. They did not respect each other. And that's the DNA that's running through my body. So I have to come to terms with their past and say, this is not mine. This was yours. I respect your challenges, and you did or did not overcome them, but I will overcome them. And I am going to bring peace to my body and peace to my way of being and peace to my way of thinking and overcome the influences of my ancestors. And then we are taught by our parents and our culture and our government and our schools and society how we need to be in order to function within that small little area that we are living. And then we're going, but that's not who I am. So this is what I'm doing with my teaching, and this is my theme for 2025 is who are you really inside? Let's wipe away all the influences from the moment you were conceived to this moment in time. Let's get rid of them all and say, okay, which of these influences helped me grow and learn and kept me strong? I'll keep those ones. And those that are holding me back out of fear and doubt and judgment, no, I'm going to let those ones go because that's not helping me grow. That is not helping me be self-aware. And that is the most important part that as an elder, helping people, and this is what my goal is to help people become self-aware of who they truly are and not who they were told to be. And then in that self-awareness, when we know who we truly are and what we love and what we like and what we don't want, we become self-actualized, meaning we can take action on all our gifts and talents and wisdom because we know who we are. We can go out and do what we need to do and accept the outcome because sometimes it works out. Sometimes it doesn't work out exactly the way we wanted it, but sometimes it works out better. Uh, so we set our intention and we leave it to the universe, and then accept what comes up and work with that in the best way we can, but through compassionate disengagement, by not judging. Okay, I didn't want it that way, but that's the way I got it. Okay, let me work with that. Why did I have to do it this way? And then answers start to show up. You say, well,
Mhm.
I needed to do it this way because certain people needed to be involved and they needed to hear it a certain way. And that's why it had to be presented this way. So it's all about adjusting it. It's sort of like yoga. You can't just hold a pose. I learned that. I took yoga for a year. And what she taught me is that yoga is about adjusting and readjusting constantly to hold that pose. So when we're in our authenticity, things will come up, triggers will happen, spirals will whip us away, and then we're constantly adjusting and readjusting our thought patterns and what's right for us. And now what's no longer right for us. Okay, that was good for a while. Now I can let that go. And now I need something new. Show me what I need to grow. And opportunities will come up. And then you self-actualize. And when you've got to this point where you can self-actualize and make your decisions and take your action, we self-ascend. All of a sudden, we are looking down at our life from a ego perspective and see it from a broader point of view and see what worked, what didn't work, and what's needs a readjustment. And from there, and that compassionate disengagement, we can ascend to our higher selves and a higher understanding of ourselves. Now, when I start a seminar, I start off with telling everybody, everybody's at a different level of understanding of who they are. What I will do in this seminar is I will raise you to your next level of understanding. But everybody's going to be at different levels and everybody's going to raise to different levels. So there's no, everybody's got to be the same. Everybody knows something different and everybody's going to grow at different rates depending on their acceptance. And you will raise your awareness to another level, and then from there to another level, and so on and so on. So that's why I'm continuing to coming to Bavaria, and I have a lot of regular people coming back and say, okay, I'm ready for the next level. I needed to
That's
process this for a year, work it, you know, clear out what I didn't want and see what's working. Okay, now I'm ready for the next level. And so that's why I keep coming back.
yeah. I experience it,
Yeah.
and what I experienced too is that it was very good to have an elder, like you told us in the last seminar, that our soul and our mind is interconnected to all space and time. And I did in the last half a year, a lot of healing in my ancestors' line. And there I was very glad to have an elder at my side who lead me through this process. And I think, and I have the feeling and the mind that you have this connection to ancestors and spirits to help through this process of past life and to heal this. And this is also, I think, how is it, an inner value, a value which elders should have, that they can travel through time and space. And with ceremony, it's so obvious that there's no time and space. There are
Yeah.
spirits all around and talking and helping. And I made the experience that you are also have the connection. But what is needed to get to this connection?
Surrender. Because ego again wants to control the rate of your spiritual growth. Because ego says, I know everything. I was taught. I've been decades old. I want to control how this is going to go down. And spirit says, take the what we call it here in Canada, we call it riding shotgun, meaning you are in the passenger seat I am the driver. I know you're sitting there and I know you're poking me with your doubts and your judgment and your know-it-all attitude, but I am the soul and I am driving this and you can just sit and be quiet.
That's right. But I think it's need the quiet mind and inner peace.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I made the experience that gaining inner peace is the best way to get outside in nature, observing nature and getting in a deep connection to nature.
Hmm.
What is your advice or experience?
Well, my experience is a little different because I died at birth and I've had several near-death experiences through my life, so I'm sort of not all here anyway. Half of me is in the spirit world. So I have one foot in the three-dimensional world and I have one foot in the fifth dimensional world. So my ability to connect with spirit, I am there and I'm here at the same time. So it's a lot easier for me to do that because of my life experiences. But again, there's two ways, and I teach people this around the world, and especially young people. I have young adults that I tutor about how to connect with spirit and with the ancestors. And there's two ways: meditation, but you set an intention and you set a question of what you want to know, what you would like to know, and go into that meditation. Now, for me, the meditation is going into the space between the four lobes of the brain. And in some cultures, we call that the bear's den. It's the
Mhm.
dark, it's the black hole, it's outer space, inner space. So I would visualize myself standing on the edge of the lobes of my brain and jumping into the black hole, which is the space between the lobes of my brain. That black hole is your inner space as well as your outer space. It is your micro self, the space between your physical atoms, but is also your macro self that is beyond the universes. And they are the same. It's the same energy. So when you can get to that micro space and the macro space, you have the ability to connect with all, everything. And that just takes a lot of practice and surrender and
Mhm.
because there's well, I can't do that, or I don't believe in that. And also connecting the science of spirituality. Quantum physics is spirituality, and spirituality is quantum physics. It's, you know, spirituality is scientifically proven somewhat, if you believe in quantum physics. Which I do, because it's spirituality. So it's like the juggling act. So uh, those who sort of fluff away spirituality, let's bring it back to the science and see if you can accept it from that point of view.
Mhm.
And some people find it easier to accept it from the scientific point of view. Some people find it easier to accept it from the magic point of view. And sometimes it's a spiritual point of view. Sometimes it's a religious point of view. There's so many different ways to approach it as long as you remain open to what you receive.
Mhm.
That is the important part, remaining open to what you receive. And then deciding for yourself whether what you're receiving is this benefit for me now? And you're going, well, not right now, but maybe I'll just tuck that away for later. It's here for a reason, but maybe I don't need it right now. But when you do, it'll pop up.
Mhm.
Now, when you go to this black hole, inner space, to find your truth, and you come back out of it and say, well, I didn't learn anything. I don't remember anything. There's nothing there. But where you don't remember it up here, that's the ego wanting control. I want to know what you saw. I want to know what you learned. But heart says, no, no, I'm just going to store it in here. And then when I need it, all of a sudden, the answer's there. Where did I get that answer? Well, you got that the last time you were in inner space, and it's stored until you need it. There's no point in giving you information until you need it because you're going, well, I'm not going to remember that anyway.
Yeah. I get asked very, very often in our classes, how can I find the difference of ego and spirit is talking to me? is there any help for them to judge this is really my spirit who talks and not my ego?
Oh, ego's tricky. It can pretend all the time. I'm spirit talking, I know, you know. And yeah, it's that's a hard one, really. And I get it through visions myself. Ego hasn't got a it doesn't have the ability to have visions, but
Mhm.
spirit does. And so I get mine through images, but then I'm autistic, I'm neurodivergent, so I've got a little bit of all of that. And so I easily can go to that space and get a flash of a vision. And then, you know, then I ask ego for help. Okay, help me analyze this vision. What do you think? You've read some things and you've experienced some things, so let's collaborate on what I saw and what you know and put it together and come up with an answer.
Mhm.
So we work together, but not one or the other is totally in charge. It's a collaboration.
Yeah.
Both are important.
For me, it's when I feel that my spirit is talking. When I'm talking to people and afterwards I can't remember anything, then I know it
That was
wasn't me
spirit.
that I talking, it was spirit. And when I start crying because I was so hard touched, and I was told by a man who do circle way, Mani Tongpat, the ego is for getting to your goal, and
Yeah,
your heart is showing you your goal, where to
exactly.
go.
Exactly. It's you know, the action and the idea.
Mhm.
So the spirit has the idea and then ego puts it into action with spirit's guidance.
Yeah, the spirit guided. That's important.
Spirit's guidance.
So one thing is also very important to be an elder is not to judge and to be in inner peace.
Yeah.
And inner peace is very hard in our society.
Mm.
How do you get in your inner peace, or how was it that you are able to get an inner peace right away?
Well, it was never right away, and it still fluctuates, especially with all that's going on in the world, you know, and then everybody's talking, everybody's upset, and everybody's scared, and I'm trying to maintain my inner peace amongst all of this, and compassionate disengagement, you know, of everybody's suffering. I'm going, how can I have inner peace when people are suffering all around me? And then I remember, um, that before any of us came to Earth, we signed up for our duty or dharma of what we were going to experience, including this chaos.
Mhm.
So everybody has to go through whatever it is that they need to go through and grow from whatever this chaos is. And those of us who have the inner peace hold space for you. We're holding space for you, sending you love, sending you peace, sending, you know, and I appear in people's meditations, I appear in people's dreams. I've been people, from Greenland to Argentina. People are saying, you came into my dreams, you came into my meditation. And I don't even know I'm doing that, but I'm out there in the world energetically trying to create love and peace and strength and compassion to get us through this chaos that we're going through around the world.
Yeah. And my way for inner peace is that my tactile man always going there, I get him quiet in nature, being outside, looking around and experience the beauty of nature, especially the beauty. Seeing all this, what is around, makes me going in inner peace and being thankfulness.
Yeah.
And when you are now in your society, in your community, and you're an elder, are there any historic things how an elder should be treated, how welcoming, what position in society would an elder have? Because no, everybody is talking about doing and getting to goals and being successful, but an elder is slower and not like a 20-year young people and the power of the body, but they are other qualities the elders can bring into society?
Just our presence of peace is one,
Yeah.
and that we were once those young ones rushing around and raising our children and building a career and building our homes. We were there. We were doing all that, and we did it, good and bad and some mediocre. And now we've reached the age where we're going, oh, thank God that's over. Now I can just sit back and going, all right, I see that. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I'm not going to interfere because I wouldn't have accepted it when I was young, the
Mhm.
interference.
Yeah.
But when I asked, then I was given. And that's why and I talked to other elders, and one woman I met last summer, and I talked about living here with my children and my grandchildren, and she said, well, I've been invited to move across Canada to go live with my children. She says, I'm kind of, I don't know how does that work? I says, keep your mouth shut. Allow them, they're already adults, they got grandchildren, they're already living their lives. You've taught them. What they use and don't use is entirely up to them now. Just sit back and watch. And if they ask again, then you can remind them of something that you've taught them. But they have to live their own lives. They have to make their own mistakes. Otherwise, how are they going to learn if everything's all easy peasy all the time, and
Mhm.
everything just falls into place and there's no challenges and no repercussions, and everybody's got to learn their own way. And they chose that before they came. They chose us as parents. They chose the location. They chose all the challenges that they were going to endure. And they chose the elder who was going to help them through it before they even came to Earth.
Mhm.
So we're here waiting for them to ask. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And you're going, all right, well, that one's a tough lesson. You're gonna know.
Yeah. And I was told that the elders was normally very good storyteller.
Yeah,
They made sitting in a community and just share their story.
yeah.
And when I was on Pipestone last year with the Holy Pipe, the Indian pipe, there was so many stories around the way of handling the pipe. And they were sitting there and just sharing. And it was so interesting to listen to them.
Hmm.
And they shared their experience, and I learned a lot from them of their way with the pipe and their life way. And it was very interesting because the storytelling is not really common in our society anymore. They are missing the grandmas and grandpas who are sitting there and talk, and the how you say the community on a fire or on breakfast table or dinner table afterwards, where a story will be told.
Yeah. Well, I'm 71 years old, and my whole life has been about storytelling. And it's just I love to tell stories and share my experiences, and always have, always have. I wrote poetry in grade 4, telling stories. But I was born to do that, and some people are. They're just born storytellers, and I remember taking I would go into an elders gathering here at the local university, and there's different elders from all across Canada, and each have a specific topic that they're going to talk about, and then you can't get to see them all because there's not enough time, so you have to pick which ones you want to go and listen to their stories because you only have 2 days. And so the one I wanted to listen to was an Iroquois grandmother who talked about the art of storytelling. I said, well, I want to be a better storyteller, so I will go to her workshop and listen to how she presents a story and the sort of the guidelines around presenting the story. And it stuck with me what she said. It was so simple. She said, don't write it down because that is the left side of your brain telling the story, writing it down. She says, stop for a moment, close your eyes, go back to the story energetically. Remember the story energetically and tell it from the experience. And she says that is a good storyteller who can go back to the original experience and tell it from the experience and not from, I mean, I got notes all around here of your questions, and not once have I looked at them. They're up there just in case I go blank. That's all, is my backup. But yeah, it's about just going deep inside and say, okay, this is the story I want to relay. And then that's when spirit talks. Like you said, when spirit talks, you're going, I hope someone wrote that down or recorded that, because I don't have a clue what I just said.
Mhm.
Because that's where you're going, into the heart. It's called heart knowledge. We're speaking from the heart in the stories
Mhm.
and not from the mind.
Yeah.
We're remembering from the mind, but we're going to the heart. We have to be that empty vessel or hollow bones where the ego and the heart are the ego is empty and it's connecting to the heart. So the two of them are working together in collaboration to tell the story. One's remembering and one's telling it from the spiritual point of view.
Yeah, exactly. And when you would choose, if you were like in companies or in corporation, my feeling is that it would be very good to have an elder there who pay attention to all the interconnected things, because every decision is like has concentric rings outside, and the young people just don't see the concentric rings
Yeah.
which influence all the world.
Yeah.
So it would be very great if every company and corporation has elders in the main board, which are connected to spirit and to society and helping to see the ripples outside.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's unfortunate that most corporations don't value. They have the education, they have the money, they have the power, they have all the specialists, and they depend on those. And the elders, and unfortunately, that's I worked with a woman I met in Belgium, and she came to my seminar. I made her a drum, and she worked with the corporations, and she wanted us to work together to get me teaching the corporate leaders about what you just said. She couldn't get it off the ground.
Mhm.
The corporate leaders didn't want anything to do with it. There was no interest whatsoever.
Yeah.
And she thought it was a great idea, just like you think it's a great idea. And that was, oh, 8 years ago,
Mhm.
9 years ago. And yeah,
Yeah.
I even had a commercial made. I'll send it to you. She says, could you make a commercial instead of talking about spirituality or quantum physics, maybe we could make it more to attract the logical mind of the corporate leaders. And so I use that kind of wording, the educational sounding. That didn't work either.
That's pity. But perhaps the time will go there very soon, because we have so many tasks in our society to solve or to find solution and to get together and bring us together to for the benefit of the world.
Yeah.
But perhaps the elders and the corporation will get more elders in and
Yeah.
see what the
The
ripples
thing
are.
is that the only way we're going to better everything in the world, no matter what country you're in, what culture, what political party you represent, it's about inclusion, respect, and
Mhm.
inclusion of everybody. Whereas the corporations they have only one narrow goal, and that's about more money, more power, and they do not include those who can be of benefit. They do not include those who could be hurt or maimed. So there's got to be more respect and inclusion. Otherwise, none of it will work.
Yeah. When you would have a dream or vision of our world in balance, how would it be?
It was so funny because I worked on a project, a community planning project for a hospital educational center. And we worked on it for 7 years, and it was magnificent. The concepts that were being pulled together of not only Western medicine but traditional medicine, education, apprenticeship programs, educational programs, housing. Um, uh, it was beautiful and self-sustaining, green air and water powered, and it was a magnificent design. And the corporate beings pulled the money and said, no, no, can't do that. I don't know what their reasoning was, but it never happened. The money got pulled, and that was that. And it was a utopia idea. And the problem with utopia, Shangri-La, is that people get involved and mess it up.
That's not
There's
easy.
been great ideas out there, but unfortunately, they fall apart. I've watched them fall apart so many times, and it's unfortunate. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we have discussed a lot of points, how it would be an elder would, what position would an elder have in our society? What does it mean to be an elder? It's not only by age, but by knowledge and connecting and spirit connecting, and that an elder shouldn't tell you what to do, just listen and talk when they are asking for help. What do you think about what does our society or need to treat an elder respectfully? What does it mean to you?
Don't condemn my life.
What is
And
condemn?
how I lived it. Condemn it. Don't put it down. Don't argue with it. Don't say it was wrong. It was my life. It was my perspective. So to argue with an elder and say, well, you got the wrong ideas and you did it wrong and whatever, that was and elders, that was their life. That was their perspective. That was their reality. And we don't tell you how to live your reality. And so to tell us how we should have lived our reality, we did what we did. We made mistakes. We did our best. We tried to rectify those mistakes. And if you're an elder, you will try to rectify those mistakes, not just say, well, sorry about that. You have to take responsibility for your actions and your decisions and your opinions out there in the world. That is a good elder. Take responsibility. I've apologized to my children. I've apologized to my grandchildren. And I've made a lot of mistakes, and and if they've affected you in a negative way, and I know they have, I've watched it. I am so sorry. It was never my intention. I'm just trying to grow up like everybody else.
Yeah. So it's very important to do the ho'oponopono to each other and
Yeah,
to
for
respect
sure.
the way somebody did the life. And it's what I made the experience. I'm a lot working in the environmental education system. And we did long ago made other decisions which aren't very good for the environment. And now the system is saying, you young people have to do it like this. And I was saying, no, at first we have to take our responsibility, what we've done wrong, and say, sorry, we messed it up.
Yeah.
We didn't know. But yes, we did know, but we had no ideas how to get it different. It was our education system, and
Yeah.
we did it. And then look us together what we can change, and
And
not
that's
to
why
say
we
you
need the
have to.
elders and the young people coming together.
Yeah,
And so that they, I mean, yes, the young people have to make their own mistakes, but through the guidance of an elder, maybe the mistakes won't be so drastic or have such big impact on people and the earth itself by going to an elder and saying, what was your experience in this? And and then we share what we did wrong. And so how can we change what we did wrong and make a different decision to do it right and working together on that.
yeah. Great. Do you have any last messages for the people, for the listeners, for the young, for the old, for the elders, for the mid-age, who are seeing the video and getting ideas or clue?
Be true to yourself and who you want to be, not who you are, because we all in the moment we are, but who do you desire to be and build on that. I still don't, I'm 71. I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up. I'm traveling around the world, hopping here, hopping there, and I'm going, "Oh, I don't know. What do I want to be when I grow up?" It changes from decade to decade. But be true to yourself in that moment. And next week it's going to be a different moment. So always say, well, that was me yesterday, but this is me today, because I learned something in between. So
Mhm.
it changes my perspective a little bit on who I am and who I want to be and what I desire in life.
Yeah.
And then there's one thing that people have been saying, you need to love yourself. And
Mm.
I was been had that thrown in my face. This is why things are going wrong for me, and you need to love yourself. And nobody else can love you unless you love yourself. And I get kind of disturbed by that and say, I have gone on this spiritual experience of growth and in self-improvement for decades. That is me loving myself enough to know that I want to change and I want to grow and I want to be a better me. That's me loving myself. There are days when I hate myself, but then there are days where I say, oh, you know, just because you hate this about yourself, look at all the beautiful things you've done. Love that. And so it's a daily thing. And to tell someone they need to love themselves or they won't be loved by anybody else, that is a crock.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. So thanks a lot, Gail, for your wisdom and sharing your wisdom and saying it so clear what you have in your heart with easy words for German. So hopefully the most will understand it. Thank you for
Yeah.
this too. And I'm really looking forward to have you here in May for the seminar, and hopefully that a lot of people are coming and getting to know themselves better,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
a better word.
And we have fun
Yeah,
too.
we had a lot of fun. That's right.
I mean, my Hawaiian teacher, he teaches through laughter and humor. And I find that people remember better when
Yeah.
they're laughing because they're paying attention. If you're droning on and on and on, and people kind of, fade away and drift out and start thinking about other things. But when there's so much fun and laughter, they don't want to miss a word. They want to know what everybody's laughing about. And
Yeah.
it's it
I can
works.
remember our dance. It was fun. Great. So
Yeah.
thank you for your time and thank you for
Thank you.
sharing. And we wish you a very, very nice day and looking forward to meet you soon again.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Blessings from Canada.
Thanks. So